Hello, my name is Brent, and behind me is the mining town of Cerro Gordo. And back in the 1800s, this town was the largest producer of silver for the state of California. These days, it's my home, where I spend my days restoring some of the old buildings, exploring the mines for different treasures, going on beautiful nature hikes, riding my dirt bike, and a lot more. And in this video, I'm gonna show you everything I've been up to in my 14th month living at Cerro Gordo. You know, being up here for 14 months now, quite a bit has changed, especially when I think about my typical days. You know, if I had my way, if I had the ideal day at Cerro Gordo, it would go something like this. I wake up, I go out and I visit the animals. Take care of them, feed them, visit the goats, visit the alpacas, come back in, take care of the cats, sit down, make a quick breakfast, you know, get my head in the game for the day, answer any emails or internet stuff that I have to do. You know, that might take a little bit. And then by noon, I try to get out there and work on projects at the property. You know, this month that was cutting in new roads with the backhoe, rebuilding a new miner's cabin, cleaning up the hoist house, and stuff like that. So I'll get out there, use my hands and do physical labor for a number of hours, come back in, check my emails, see if there's anything new that I have to take care of that's come in over the past few hours. And then hopefully, as it becomes evening time, I get into adventure mode. And that might mean exploring a new mine, riding my dirt bike to a place I've never been before, or even just hiking to a peak that I've always wanted to see the view from. And during that time, I try to be unreachable, you know, disconnected, leave the phone at home, nobody can get a hold of me. And if I think of the biggest difference over the past 14 months, it's this time alone. In Austin, I would go to the grocery store every single day because I would make up some reason I needed to go. And these days, I go every 2 weeks. I'm still alive, I'm still here, you know, I just have a lot more time to do other things. But in my ideal world, after I get this alone time to adventure and explore a little bit, I try to find a peak to watch the sunset at. You know, that's one of my big daily routines these days, is just watching the sunset from a beautiful place up here. And then if I really have my ideal day, I'll try to read something about Cerro Gordo, you know, learn a little bit more about the history here. So that way I have better context of everything around me, which makes those evening adventures that much more important to me. You know, they mean that much more when I understand the context under which I'm doing it. So that's it. You know, my perfect day involves building restorations, it involves adventure, it involves stillness, sunsets, and maybe a little history lesson. And luckily this month, I did all of those things. So it was a pretty good month. Probably the most useful update of this month was getting a backhoe back up here. You know, with a property like this, I could work on projects every single day for the rest of my life with a backhoe and still have a list this long of projects to go. You know, there's no shortage of dirt to move around or new pads to build or roads to cut in or mines to explore and everything else. And so this month, luckily, a company called Dozer rented me a backhoe for a month, and I got immediately to work. You know, they delivered it down in Keeler, and I remember the day it was delivered, there was a freak snowstorm up here at Cerro Gordo. And so my first task with this new backhoe was just getting it here. You know, the road up is a 7-mile road that's pretty steep, and let me tell you, backhoes do not go terribly fast as you're going up steep hills. As you can see, a backhoe is back. Now the only thing is to get it from here at my place in Keeler up to Cerro Gordo, which unfortunately, if you see up there, got some snow. So, all right, up to the hill we go. Cerro Gordo, here I come. I think it took me about 3 hours, kind of trudging along, you know, on my way up. But I got here and pretty much immediately went to work. You know, the first project that I wanted to do was get going on a new cabin restoration. This is the former and future site of a miner's cabin here at Cerro Gordo. And back in the day, there used to be these small cabins kind of littering the hillsides everywhere. But these days, there's only about 3 left by the main town core. And a couple months ago, I chose the middle cabin to restore. That turned out great. So now I'm moving to this upper cabin. So this is kind of the next project then. I love that cribbing. There needs to be something there. And this one I want to keep even more rustic than the last one. I think the last one turned out amazing. It's gonna last forever, but I want this one to be a little more rustic. Beautiful perspective up here of that and of the town. As you can see, I'm gonna have to cut in a new road here to even get over to this cabin. There's the cabin over there. That rock is my goalpost. We'll see what we can do. I love starting new restoration projects. Each one feels like a pump to Cerro Gordo's chest, you know, an effort to bring a heartbeat back to this town. Creation after a century of destruction. When I look at a photo of the town at its peak, I realize how many lives it was able to touch each and every day. And I also realize just how many buildings were lost over time. And I wonder how that affects the experience up here. Because I think it's that sharing of space that creates different perspectives and interesting interpretations and conversations. You know, a dozen eyes looking at the same hill, noticing different things each, and sharing that experience with each other creates like a more full experience in a town. So every scoop of dirt in a new road, or plank of wood saved, or stone stacked is a step in that direction. And that's always exciting for me. So what you do when you're cutting in a road, you can see over time, it's slanted like this, right? And so I'm taking dirt from over here, bringing it over here. So that side gets lower, this side gets higher, and hopefully you have a flat road. So that's why there's piles here. And then I'll use this bucket, I'll put it flat, and I'll just push the dirt over. And that way there's a flat road all the way to that cabin. And I'm basically there. Don't ask me how rough the road is behind me. It's very rough, but a little bit of evening out, and it's get materials to a bowl, which is the main thing. I can start on this tomorrow even, which is amazing. And so this project will be underway very shortly. All right, just getting going on this. As you can see, I want to clear out this for eventual, you know, lounge spot for this. This cribbing's definitely got to stay. I think at one point it was 2 buildings. This might have been for like a animal or something. And this ceiling obviously is not gonna work, and it's been filled in a lot. So really what's gonna have to happen here is an image of this, and then all this wood put up and stored. Before we go much further on this cabin rebuild, this pocket over here seems to have a lot of fabric in it. You can see like fabric there, different color there. And if you look, it's all buried right in here. So I'm wondering if this is a wall. Guy just threw all of his old clothes against the wall. And that's what I'm finding. But in these walls too, I imagine, like, I'm trying to put myself in the mentality of a miner. If I had this, I wanted to hide something, I'd push it in the walls. Oh, mice thought the same thing, so there's some mice back there. Like anytime there's corners, so the last time I rebuilt the cabin down there, this back left corner, there's tons of bottles and tobacco tins. Like that was like his vice corner where he hid all of his stuff. Now hold up just 1 second here. What have we here? A little like secret compartment thing. You see there's some sheet metal above it or something. Oh, it goes back deep. That looks like a hiding spot, doesn't it? I'm just terrified to reach in there because maybe it's an animal that has made this, but given the fact that there's metal above it and it's like perfectly circular going back, I'm wondering if that's a little hiding spot. That goes way far back. I mean, if I was gonna hide some coins, that seems like a good place. Do I just reach back there? I dug down the site a little bit brought in a lot of rock from the tailings piles as drainage underneath it, which you see here. And then luckily, this weekend I had a number of volunteers up here to help me crib up this back wall. So now you kind of see the structure as it'll be. This rock will help drainage underneath it. So I'm gonna bring in some more fill. This is coming from the tailings pile, and that will fill it up and make it level. And then the construction will start. And the plan from now is there needs to be some floor joist and the cabin's gonna go back up. This is a project that kind of I work on when I can't be working on the hotel project, but I'm excited. You know, already since starting on these cabins 6 months ago, there's one down there that I'm very happy with. Hopefully there'll be 2 here in a month or so, and then I'll just continue. Because when people ask me about what my vision for Cerro Gordo is overall, you know, I would love for more people to be able to come up here and stay overnight. You know, it's one thing to come here for an hour or two, take a tour, look around, but it's different to see the sunrise and the sunset, you know, to experience the wind when it changes directions, or the way the light hits the mountains across the way at different times of the day. And I want more people to experience that. And I want more people to be able to experience that no matter their comfort level or their income level. And so the first big hospitality offering that I'll have is the hotel. The hotel will have 6 rooms. Then, over the coming years, I hope to have about 10 or 15 cabins, maybe a little bit bigger than this one, scattering the hillside around the town, much like they used to. So that way if people want their own space, they can rent one of those. And then finally, over the saddle towards Death Valley, there's quite a bit of acreage back there. And I hope to have campsites, you know, pretty basic campsites, just with that stunning view of Death Valley National Park. And all these people each night coming to the hotel, congregating, hanging out on the porch, enjoying a drink or some food, and just getting to experience Cerro Gordo together. That's my goal, and so that's what I push for every day, including working on these little projects like this. So while this might just look like kind of a small cabin that I'm rebuilding, it's part of the bigger picture. And I hope that this cabin allows many people to stay in it over the coming 100 years, and all of them have their own memories of Cerro Gordo. You know, to me, that would be really exciting. The biggest mine exploration this month happened right here at this 300-foot vertical shaft right in front of me. This is called the Newtown mine, and I've been eyeing this mine for a very long time. This was active during Cerro Gordo's heyday, so in the 1800s, and to my understanding and from my knowledge, nobody has been into this mine since it was closed, because it's very difficult to get into. To get into this thing, this is the hole. It's a 300-foot straight vertical shaft. There's no ladder after about 50 feet, and it's just a straight drop. So for me, I was never super comfortable with that, but this month, I decided that I was gonna go down a little bit. It's game time. Rope is tied off to the razor. Ropes are going down. And it begins. We're headed down. Maybe 60 feet down. So I was rappelling down, and at the bottom I hit my carabiner that I tied for the bottom, knowing I was at the end of the rope, shined my flashlight around, realized that there's no entrances there, so that means that the first entrance to the first level of the mine must be below 120 feet. So I went out, I purchased 300 foot of straight rope, and I plan to go back down there soon. In the meantime, I'm just mentally preparing myself for that feeling of just dangling on a rope in the middle of a void, knowing that there's a 30-story building worth of fall below you. But hopefully this coming month I go down there, and I get to show you guys what's in there. And I'm excited, because again, nobody's been down there since the 1800s. You know, when I'm done with my main tasks for the day, I always want to do something, you know. It's not a place where I sit back and I watch Netflix at night or I just kind of relax. I'm always thinking and curious about what else is out there. And on the top of my curiosity list is mines. And most specifically, there is a mine called the Omega Mine, which collapsed a number of years ago, that's just over the hill, that has been on the top of my mental curiosity list for 6 or 8 months now. You know, this is a mine that back in the day connected right into the main Union mine. And if you know me and you know this channel, you know I am looking for another entrance into the Union mine. Why? Because right now, if I want to explore the Union mine, which is the biggest mine here at Cerro Gordo, I have to take the original hoist. And to use the hoist, it requires a crew. So I gotta convince 4 or 6 guys to take time out of their day to send me down to explore around a mine. And that just isn't practical. And so for me, what I want to be able to do is to enter this mine from one of the old entry points that isn't the hoist. And the best lead in those mines is the Omega Tunnel. And the Omega Tunnel is just over the hill here, but it's collapsed for a number of years. And so to get into it, I need to dig it out. And to dig it out, I need a backhoe. So this month, you know, as I had free time from cutting in the cabin road, I went back there and started digging into the Omega. I got the backhoe back up here, and I think I got some unfinished business on this side of the mountain. So here's a little lay of the land of the Omega as it stands currently. And what's interesting is even since I've been here after the snow and stuff, all of this is kind of new collapse from up there. All that stuff, I mean, it's falling down even looking at it there. So I'm basically gonna fill this in so I can keep bringing this back to get further in, because the shaft, I mean, you can see one of the timberings here. So it's kind of going at this angle. So I need to kind of start over there, but there's no ground here and the bucket won't reach over there. I'm confident. I think once I get past all this, I'm gonna get into this thing. So less talking, more digging. I'm not gonna go down there, but tons of new timbering there, but also tons of dirt collapsing. So it seems like I'm still going straight on it. I'm back maybe 20 feet, so I'm gonna have to knock down those. There's gonna be a lot, but I'll just keep building my own road and keep going back that way. What I'm excited about is I keep seeing timbering, so I know I'm on the right track. It's because I keep seeing timbering, and each time I dig away, the entrance that I see is a little bit bigger. So it's like one more scoop, and I'm finally gonna reveal a perfect pathway all the way back into the Union mine. Ladies and gentlemen, this might be it. I might have finally found my way into the Omega. Look at that opening that's appeared out of nowhere. You're telling me that's not a portal? I'm gonna take out a little bit more dirt and then go down there and investigate. Woo! Could be the day. I'm nervous to even get out of the backhoe because this has been months of digging in, and this actually looks like an entrance to a portal. Look at all that timbering everywhere. That's it. That's, oh man. Jesus, that's some big rock. That's the mine. That's it. That's it. That's it, baby. Yes! We're into the Omega, baby. Look at this timbering. Oh man. I mean, who knows how far back it goes? It could not go into the 200 level, but it could, you know? I'm there now. Unfortunately, that exploration is going to have to be a different day. So coming next time to Ghost Town Living, the Omega Tunnel at Cerro Gordo. Yes! The Omega has been entered. Since moving up here 14 months ago, I've developed a lot of hobbies. You know, nowadays I love to go dirt bike riding, I love to explore mines, use heavy equipment, and I love hikes. The hikes aren't the new thing for me. It's the walking of the wash that is what I like. And when I say that, I mean the part of the mountain where if the snow were to melt, it would wash down a certain valley. And after you are out here for a while and you see all these mining camps, you realize that the wash is the best place to find treasure, because let's say that the treasure was over here in a camp. Over the years, the snow will melt it into the wash and it all will accumulate right there. And today, I'm gonna walk a very serious wash. You may recognize this as the site of the Silver Spear mine exploration that I went on. I just about got stuck in this hole over here. Oh no. So as you can see, there used to be a very big mining operation up here called the Silver Spear. And down below, there's more of the mining operation, and that building is right on top of a cliff. And beyond it is a wash all the way down towards another mine. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I mean, it's a beautiful day out here. Pack my bag and do a little wash walking. Walking the wash has become one of my favorite adventures to take. You know, it's as close to a guaranteed win as anything I know. Not a win in terms of just finding treasure, but a win where at the end of it, I always feel better than when I went. It's this perfect combination of adventure, anticipation, and adrenaline. You know, there's always that chance that hiding somewhere in the wash is a relic from the past. You know, some piece of history that was washed from its campsite into that gully and has remained there ever since. And even if there's no man-made items in sight, the wash never seems to disappoint. You know, you're walking in the shadows of these awe-inspiring mountains, sliding down loose shale, and following the natural flow of water in the area. It's peaceful, and it allows me to forget about whatever anxieties that day may have held and just be in awe of the scenery around me. Because where water goes, so does life. You know, when I walked down the wash this month, I came upon a bristlecone pine right here at Cerro Gordo. I think that's a bristlecone pine. Oh, but look at that tree. Holy tamale. The way the light's hitting it right now too. I didn't ever know you could fall in love with a tree. Or maybe that's just what happens after, 13 months on a ghost town. Look at these, this is just magical up here. Woo! Love that part. Dang, what is this? That's a heavy guy. Well, the equipment continues. I don't know what this is, but more sheet metal there. There's some beautiful trees back here. You know, that's the one thing that Cerro Gordo proper is missing. Because these are all pinyon pines. This tree might be a couple hundred years old. And so the miners, as you see here, would chop down the trees for firewood. And, this might be 50, 60 years old. So this haven't grown up around Cerro Gordo again because the climate out here is so difficult and it's so dry. All right, well, got back down to where I originally went to the mine and I crashed the drone on those cliffs. There wasn't nearly as much stuff as I hoped for in the wash. There's some big old items up there, some of those pipes and such. But you know what? Now I know. And more than anything else, that's what I'm always trying to do, is just check things off the list. I think to me, whenever I think of something or I see something that might have clues in it or treasure or something, I just can't get it out of my mind until I go and explore it and kind of check it off the list. And that wash was one of those things. It was on my brain ever since I crashed that drone up there. I was like, well, what's above it? And so it would have driven me crazy if I wouldn't. Uh-oh. See, now we got another wash. We got another wash with sheet metal and we got see, now this wash is going to drive me crazy. What I was saying was, as soon as I see something on the property or surrounding property or even Google Earth that looks like something I should explore, I just can't get it out of my brain until I explore it. But you know what? After a decade of scratching all those exploration itches, I feel like I'm gonna have a pretty good understanding of all of the land out here. Or I hope to anyways. Or maybe I'll realize after 10 years that it's gonna take me another 10 years, and after that 10 years, I'll just realize you'll never know. One of my favorite things over this past year has just been learning the new skill of taking video. 15 months ago, I had never made a video in my life. When I first started making these, I only had the camera that I'm looking at right now, And it was just a way to show other people what my life was like up here. But as I started making more of them, I fell very much in love with the process, of setting up the shots, of trying new angles, of just having this creative outlet that I never had at any other part of my life. And as part of that, I started incorporating new equipment. I got a GoPro, and then finally I got a drone because I just wanted to be able to show the magnitude of this environment up here, the awe that happens in these mountains and these deserts, and try to give a little bit of scale to the property of Cerro Gordo. And I love it. I have this drone, and I think it's done an amazing job of just showing what life is like up here. And I think a lot of times I get the question of who's flying the drone for you? And the answer is the drone is flying itself. These drones these days have an autonomous follow mode where basically they'll lock into a person, a vehicle, or other things and just follow it wherever it goes. And so if you ever see me on a dirt bike going around turns or going on a hike or doing any of these things, it's the drone locking in on me and following me itself. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you will know I've had no shortage of drone crashes. Unfortunately, as you're experimenting with anything, you're gonna break some things. And for me, that means breaking a lot of drones. Luckily, the company does have an amazing insurance policy, so I'm able to get these drones replaced over some timeline. But this month, a company reached out and they said, hey, we have this new technology and this new drone that should be able to follow you much better than the drone you're currently using. I was like, all right, we'll send it over. So they sent me one to try out, and I gotta say, I am very happy with the results. This drone last night was following me at 30 miles an hour down the Salt Tram Road, zooming behind me, in front of me, doing shots that I could have never envisioned taking myself. And so I'm excited. My hope every week is to make better videos. I hope that my creative process gets better over time. And I think it has. If I look at my first video and look at the video now, I think they're better. I hope that you guys think they're a little bit better. And I'm excited over this coming year to get even better at this new skill. It's exciting for me to try new things. And so my hope is that I'm sitting here a year from now and I'm like, oh yeah, those videos a year ago were pretty good, but they're not where they are now. And I think part of that is gonna be continuing experimenting with this equipment. And so this month, getting this new drone, it's been exciting for me. I'm like a kid with a new toy to test out. And I hope you guys like it too. So that's it. That's 14 months up here at Cerro Gordo. 14 months going in mines like this. And I gotta say, I think above and beyond all else, I'm more comfortable these days with being in uncomfortable situations. That's not to say in abstract that these mines are any more comfortable to me in theory than they were before, but I think I'm more comfortable with myself or more at ease with myself within these uncomfortable situations. Not just mine exploration, but camping outside underneath the stars or using machinery that I never knew how to use before. The stimulus still feels the same, but I think my response to these uncomfortable situations is a little bit different. Earlier this month when I was in the Newtown mine and I was dangling on a rope with a 300-foot drop below me, I thought to the time that I was camping and then I was uncomfortable and then I made it through that just fine. And suddenly I felt a little bit more at ease. I just relished in the moment thinking, hey, this is pretty terrifying now, but I'll be able to pull from this in the future to get me through a different uncomfortable situation. And I think once you realize that about these situations, it becomes a feedback loop. Once you realize the value of being in uncomfortable situations, you put yourself in uncomfortable situations more often, and then you realize the value and it repeats itself. It's kind of like going to the gym. When you first go to the gym, it's difficult, but then once you see the benefits going to the gym, you want to go to the gym more, so you see more benefits, so you want to go to the gym more, and so on and so forth. So that's what I hope for you guys this week. I hope you purposely put yourself out there in some of these uncomfortable situations. They go against every fiber of being a human being. We like the familiar and the comfortable, but if you do go out there and seek out this discomfort, I think you build more confidence and more data points to draw from in the future when you're in similar situations. So that's what I hope for you guys. I hope you have an amazing week, uncomfortable situations or not. I hope you all come back next week to see what's going on at Cerro Gordo. And until then, I am going to sit here in an abandoned silver mine and maybe turn out the light. I think that would make it about as uncomfortable as it could be. So you guys want to see what that looks like? Let's see. Just about like that.